the last day for the convention. The first thing we went to was a thing hosted by Yatsiu and Anand Venkat. God, I'm gonna fuck this up. I'm so sorry, Anand, for screwing your last name up. Venketaswaran. And Yatsiu is an NFT guy. He founded and is the CEO of Animoca Brands, which is like one of the largest NFT-related companies in the cryptocurrency industry. Most people I know have not heard of it. They do. They did the Sandbox, and they were investors in Decentraland, and I don't know. You name a cryptocurrency-related project, they probably have invested. Bennett and I know about them because they were listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, and then they got delisted because they didn't provide the proper paperwork. And since then, their brand has only grown in value, and it's just kind of otherworldly and unbelievable. But anyway, we went to this talk with these two guys, and I don't mean to be rude, and I know this is going to sound fucked up, but it was just completely vapid. It was absolutely just the most vapid discussion I've ever heard, and that was my introduction to Consensus, was like these two guys who were supposed to be some of the richest people involved with NFTs, and they were saying nothing for a half hour. They said nothing.
Like the name of the session was "Who Are You in Web3? Exploring Tokenized Identity." And their thesis initially presented during this, and I'm doing my very best to like steelman what they were trying to say here, is that the power of tokenized pseudonyms is that you can wear it like an exosuit, and then later someone else can wear it. You can sell it and someone else can borrow the beneficial aspects of that identity. But Anand, when he was talking about it, because he used to be Tubador.eth, part him and Metakoven were the two who bought Beeple's $69 million NFT, he was talking about how he hasn't, like, he no longer uses that Tubador identity, and it's supposedly for sale, but he really isn't ready to part with it. He grew attached to his identity because, of course, he fucking did. That's what an identity is, you dumb motherfuckers. Like, the idea of putting enough of yourself into an identity that people like connect to and relate to, and then thinking you can just sell that to another person and that the identity will persist and that will be a good transaction for everyone involved is something I can't wrap my head around. And like, even during the course of it, they never really strongly supported that.
Yeah, I do want to. Yeah, I might as well get into some of the details of this one, because then I think we can just skip the other stupid ones that we heard for the most part. I don't think.
I think we should talk briefly about the CFTC.
No, I want to talk about some of the better ones. That I do want to talk about. But we don't need to touch on any other stupid ones, because I think that this one kind of sums up the bad ones in perfection. And some of the stuff I remember hearing, and I wrote this down. They brought up Harry Potter as an example of like, and as an example of a movie, not of a book, guys, as an example of a movie where no one remembers the person who played Harry Potter, but they all remember Harry Potter. Buddy, I hate to break it to you. Everybody remembers who played Harry Potter. It was Daniel Radcliffe. Like, he is one of the most famous actors of our generation now. It's a very, very odd suggestion, but okay, it was also a book first. So I don't know what we're talking about here. Like, you're talking about the separation of identity between Harry Potter and Daniel Radcliffe. Harry Potter was a fictional character invented by J.K. Rowling. So very odd comparison there.
Well,
and then the other comparison,
and they did the same
by
thing
Anand,
with Iron Man.
The other comparison by Anand was with Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. and how, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man and he can't separate from his. So is actually making the opposite point, which was that Robert Downey Jr. can't separate from the Iron Man identity and Iron Man can't separate from Robert Downey Jr. But then again, Iron Man existed like 50 years before Robert Downey Jr. played him. So very odd. Again, like, just really strange suggestions. Didn't make any sense. And then they just did more and more of this, quoting Hamlet.
One of my favorites was the wedding rings. When Yatsu
that was good.
said that NFTs or that like profile pics in some of these tokenized identity markers are like wedding rings because they become part of your identity. He wasn't wearing a wedding ring, just as an aside. And he said that you wouldn't buy a secondhand wedding ring and you wouldn't sell your wedding ring. And I just need to say I messed up because I bought my wife's diamond on consignment. And apparently, according to Yatsu, who wasn't wearing a wedding ring, I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bad luck, according to him or something. And you can't sell them, even though obviously there's a market for wedding rings. So I like,
and again,
odd.
It's not a particularly great market, right? Like often what you can actually get for a diamond will be far less than what it's appraised for. But that's because it's an illiquid specialty market like NFTs, you dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah, which they also, that was the only point they kept they kept, without really giving any reason why, they kept suggesting that illiquidity was great and that you don't need liquidity for these markets. I mean, okay, I don't know what to say about that. And then my favorite quote from that was, "Culture is the biggest TVL of any economy." Sorry for anyone who's on total value locked of any economy.
I forgot that one.
What the fuck are you talking? I just don't even know how to respond to that kind of shit. So we're just gonna move right past it. Anyway, yeah, one of the worst talks I heard for sure, and I hope everyone else in the audience at the time felt the same way, but I'm not sure. I don't think they necessarily did. Also, in between
based on the number of hands that went up when they asked how many of you own multiple profile picture NFTs, I think that crowd might have felt differently than we did about some of that, Cass.